Well, money is unfortunately one of the top things that causes arguments between couples. And when Valentine's Day is just around the corner, you probably want to try and keep the focus on the love you share, not the arguments, of course. In Finances at 4, Xavier is talking with certified financial educator to help you keep money out of those arguments.
Well, as we're approaching Valentine's Day, love is in the air, but what doesn't make love and relationships work so well? A big disagreement constantly had is money and how you go about that. We have Steve Siebold here with us. He's the author of the book, How Money Works. He's also a certified financial educator. Your number one tip is talk it out, right? That's where you kind of have to start to avoid money problems in your relationship.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea because people have different beliefs, of course, about money, and they're raised differently about money and that type of thing. So I think you got to talk it out and kind of find a middle ground in terms of spending habits and saving habits, investing habits. I think it makes a big difference.
And when you're talking it out, you also have to pick your battles because every money situation isn't always worth a big discussion and oftentimes leads to an argument.
Exactly. Pick your fights. If you've ever been married, more than 10 minutes, you know that you have to pick your fights. So yeah, especially when it comes to money, because it's such an emotional topic for so many people that I think if it's a little expenditure and you're a little upset about it, maybe let it go. If it's something big that's going to impact your future in a negative way, then you might want to pick that battle and take that fight.
Yeah. One thing that people do have different philosophies on is spending money for fun. You say people should really dedicate money for fun. Does that help avoid that? Does that help make one less thing to argue about?
It's more about experiences and being together with people, which we haven't been able to do as much, of course. And then it is really about buying things. Things kind of have a shelf life and it's usually not very long, but experiences go on forever and they're great memories. And I think that budgeting for those types of things probably would be better for relationships' long-term health.
For those that are struggling, that really are seeing the money thing kind of constantly being an issue in their relationship, what is a way they can kind of navigate that a little bit better to not always come back to that?
I think to meet on a regular basis, probably a weekly basis would be a good idea to have a financial meeting with your spouse, significant other. That's a really good way to stay organized because then you both know exactly what you have. It's not unclear. And you know what you're able to spend and not spend.
Well, too, I think that helps let that conversation not bleed into life, too. If you know you have these designated times you're going to talk money, that stops you from talking money at breakfast and dinner and bedtime and kind of all those other times where arguments are more likely to spark, too.
I think you're totally right. I mean, again, it is such an emotional topic. And, the more emotion that people experience at any given time, the less logic. As emotion goes up, logic goes down. And so it becomes this thing where you start believing you have more money than you have or less money than you have or, whatever it is. And it starts to become very emotionally skewed. But if you're meeting on a regular basis and you know exactly what you have and exactly what your portfolio has, it's much easier to look at things through the eyes of objective reality because you know your numbers. And it's really important that you know your numbers. And I don't think most people really take enough time to do that, according to the studies.
Yeah. Steve, thank you so much. These are all such great tips. We're going to post all these tips for you on 9and10news.com. We're also going to post a link to Steve's book, How Money Works, on our website, 9and10news.com. Steve, thank you so much.
And we have some birthdays